Do you ever snap at your husband even when you don't mean to? I was trapped in the cycle too. Today, I'm sharing the secret that finally brought peace to my marriage. Assalamu Alaikum, sisters. I'm Abdullah from Japan. In my last video, I talked about how to fight the shaitan when we get angry. But honestly, I realized there is something even more important than that. It's about looking inside ourselves at the insecurities and anxieties that make us trigger so easily in the first place. Today, I want to go one step deeper and dive into that. Have you ever had a moment where your husband says something, maybe just a simple question or a suggestion, and instead of responding calmly, like saying, "Oh, you all right?" or "Let me explain why," your brain instantly hits an attack button, and you snap back with something like, "Well, what about you?" You snap back, your heart starts racing, and suddenly you are in the middle of a conflict you never even wanted. I've been there more times than I'd like to admit. For the longest time, I wondered, why can't I just let it go? Why is my default setting to fight back? I decided to stop running away from the question and really dig deep. And what I found didn't just change how I talk to my husband, it completely transformed how I view myself, my daily struggles, and my path to Jannah. Today, I want to share the deep, messy, and incredibly liberating truth I discovered about why we struggle to keep the peace and the spiritual routine I use to protect my heart from the attack button every single day. Let me take you back to a few weeks ago. We had just moved, and our home was absolute chaos. Actually, it started when my husband decided to recognize the closet next to the living room, a space where I kept most of my things. He organized it differently than I would have, and honestly, I felt a little frustrated that he'd gone through my things without asking. But he did make it look neat, so I swallowed my irritation and didn't say a word. But then, a little while later, I did the same for him. I moved some of his belongings that had been sitting in a storage room for ages to make better use of space. When he came home and saw it, he looked down and said, "Why, you should have just told me first." In the split second, my mental scales of justice completely shattered. I thought he was allowed to touch my things, but when I touched his, it was a problem. I feel like all my daily efforts, the constant housework, the childcare, were just being dismissed. I was so frustrated and hurt. I explained why I moved them, but I snapped, "Well, maybe because you weren't going to do it." Astaghfirullah, I was angry, and I was looking for a fight. Then I read a blog post about wives who always feel the need to win in an argument, and it really hit home. It explained that we attack our husbands to fill the holes in our own confidence and to cover up our own anxieties. I realized I had the same. I don't want to lose feeling inside me. So I opened the memo application on my phone and started digging into my own heart. I asked myself, what are my anxieties about? What am I afraid of? Why am I so insecure that I have to be this aggressive? As I wrote, I realized two big painful truths. First, The stress was just too much, and I was terrified of taking it out on my kids. I wanted my husband to help, and not getting the help felt like my stress was piling up, and I didn't want to show my children a version of myself that was constantly irritated. Second, I felt lonely because I wasn't being heard. I felt like he wasn't by my side emotionally, and I felt unappreciated. My sense of self-worth was wavering because of his words, and that revealed just how insecure I actually was. I realized I needed to stop carrying everything alone and put my complete trust in Allah. Regarding my anxiety about doing it all alone and fearing I'd take it out on the kids, I felt the way because I was trying to do everything by myself. But Allah didn't create us to be perfect beings. He gave us things we cannot do, so that we would learn to depend on Him and experience the joy of asking for His help. So I started saying, Tawakkalt ala Allah, wa la hawla, wa la quwwata illa billah. I put my trust in Allah. There is no power and no strength except with Allah. When my husband can't physically help, I turn to Allah. I drop my perfectionism. I do only what I can, and I rest. And subhanallah, sometimes the kids start playing quietly on their own, and the housework just flows. Subhanallah. Allah makes my burden lighter. My husband may not always be able to help, but Allah is always there to assist. And honestly, there is nothing more reassuring than that. And regarding wanting to be loved and heard, it's not wrong to want that, but it is wrong to get aggressive when I don't get it. I realized what I should have done was stay calm and say, I'm having a hard day. Could you please comfort me or give a hug? To stay in the stable state of mind, tawakkul is essential. Instead of trying to get my husband to feel my insecurities, I turned to Allah to fill my heart. When I found the peace in Allah, I realized I could finally be honest and kind to my husband instead of attacking him. SubhanAllah. When I finally touched my own true feelings and practiced tawakkul, I realized I didn't have to just endure it for the sake of Allah. I could value my own feelings too. I looked back at how I shouted, well, because you never do it. And I felt so much regret for how unfair and fool I had been to my husband. Alhamdulillah, I am grateful that I could realize this. If you also feel frustrated or competitive with your husband, please look into your own heart. Ask yourself, what am I anxious about? What am I afraid of? Why am I feeling so insecure that I have to be aggressive? Identify those answers, accept them, and ask Allah for help. It gave me so much peace and happiness, Alhamdulillah, and I hope you will try it too, inshallah. One problem is solved and another begins. The trials of this life never really end, subhanallah. But I have this deep desire to live my life constantly turning to Allah, the one who loves me and provides me with so many blessings. Please keep me in your du'as, and I will keep all of you in mind. Alhamdulillah, it was such a blessing to share this with you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khaira. Assalamu alaikum.